Hey guys, welcome to Tyson's Fitness Tips podcast. If you want to lose weight, increase your energy, improve your health and fitness, and look your best, then you have come to the right place. My name is Tyson Brown. I'm a personal trainer, and my job is to help you transform your body by sharing with you the most up-to-date information on health and fitness. I'm going to distill it all down for you into bite-sized actionable steps that you can take immediately to see results quickly. Now, every Tuesday and Thursday, you can expect a brand new episode, which will be a mixture of interviews with top experts from around the world in the fitness space, and as well as solo episodes from myself, sharing with you exactly what action steps you need to take to transform your health, your body, and your life. Also, don't forget to listen all the way to the end of the show, because in the middle, I'm going to share with you a time-saving tip, and it might just be a game changer. I know you're short on time, and this one can save you a lot of time and a lot of energy. So, let's get into the show. What is going on, guys? It is Tyson Brown here, back with another episode of Tyson's Fitness Tips. Now, I've had some people talking about training. I've had some people always talking about fat loss, different methods, and we've gone over a lot of different things when it comes to nutrition, when it comes to training, and the mindset. But one thing we haven't really dived deep into is supplements. So I wanted to bring in one of my friends, a very special guy in the industry, because I've been... let's just say I've been having a bit of a stalk of his lately on Instagram and seeing what he does, and he does some pretty cool shit. So I want to welcome to the call today Marty. Marty, thank you so much for being here. Your full name is Marty Mega McPhee, as we like to call you. So why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself? And first of all, why are we calling you Mega Marty?
Mega Marty was thanks for having me on. It's awesome. Mega Marty was kind of out of the blue when we was looking for a company name, because I had three clients at the time that really enjoyed video games, and so did I. And we were looking for a company name, and someone said Freak Fitness. And like, oh no, you can't have Freak Fitness. And funny enough, that's actually another very popular contest prep coach in Canada. And so this is, no, that'd be bad for marketing. I said, well, like, why not? Like, do you like Mega Man? And I said, yeah, Mega Man was a wicked video game. He's like, well, Mega Marty sounds pretty close to that. And we all kind of burst out laughing and said, you know what, screw it. And usually I have pretty wild hair, so just kind of made up to the whole kind of, let's say, persona, and then just took off. And before you know it, people just started calling me Mega. And funny enough, Facebook got mad at me and said, your first name is not Mega. So it did say Mega Marty McPhee, and that's because my company is Mega Marty, and that's my website, megamarty.com. So they allowed me to keep it inside the middle name for search purposes. So I was like, okay, that's cool.
Okay, nice one. So it was pretty on the spot type of thing, I guess you'd say, at the end of the day, being able to call Mega Marty.
Oh yeah, like it's super easy for people to find me. It is as much as we'll say character or whoever it is. Like, I don't know. I think it fits my personality pretty good. And yeah, it just makes it a heck of a lot more ease of searchability, we'll say, for people to find me. So yeah, I've been doing online coaching now for at least 6 years. I believe I'll be coming into my 7th year. I've been doing personal training for almost 10. And so started out as a young man who loved football, and then football kind of ended, wasn't quite good enough to keep going at the university level. So kept up with the weights, didn't really find a lot of success with finding programs off of bodybuilding.com. So I ended up buying a bunch of textbooks, which I was like, okay, this is the real stuff. It was a lot of strength stuff at the time, such as Mark Ripto's Starting Strength and Charles Poliquin's original book there, the Poliquin Principles. And that was super cool. And then it kind of course, got whisked away into the supplement world. This time, Ronnie Coleman was still Mr. Olympia, and No Explode had just came out, and Super Pump had just, pre-workouts were born pretty much right when I was getting into the scene, we'll say. So this was never heard of before. Like, can you imagine I don't think Red Bull was even out at this time, or just coming out. So this phenomenon hit, right? So that now you can get your creatine and some food, and you can be as big as Ronnie Coleman. I was like, oh my God. So Therefore, I went on bodybuilding.com as a poor university student, bought the big mass stack. And so this $300 abomination of a nitric oxide booster with a post-workout creatine replenisher and no explode came to the mail. I waited 2 months because shipping from the U.S. to Canada, here where I am, took forever because it said probably right on the box, the mass explosion or something. I'm like, what the hell is in this box? So got it, and it worked because I was so friggin' young and happy to get a damn bottle of No Explode into Canada. Like, yeah, of course it woke you up. They actually used to call them Anal Explode and Super Dump because they had some form of creatine in there that, yeah, about 20 minutes later, you were having the pre-workout poos too. We'll call them. So yeah, and so the nitric oxide one, I was like, what is this even for? So I was using it, and it was called the perpetual pump. You had to take these 4 horse tablets every 3 hours, keep the pump going from the gym. And I was like, I don't even know if you should be like this. You have to think this is 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago. I was first using this stuff. So I don't know if I want to keep them. Like, that sounds a little bit painful. Like, the pump's cool, like maybe for the bar or something at nighttime. And oh yes, we did that. We tried, and it didn't work. So then you go along a little bit further, and then a different host of supplements come out, and then there was testosterone boosters came out. And then ephedrine got banned, and the ban hammer was on ephedrine. So then the new and improved hydroxy cuts come out, and the new Xenadrins come out. So there's fat burners galore. Then there's these weird oils they say start coming out, like Sesamin and CLA, saying it's a fat that burns fat, and they got all this science and marketing behind it. And then, now you're losing too much muscle during the workout. You got to have branch chain supplements, amino acids. Like, oh my God. So then before you know it, your supplement bill can look at, and I'm only going to go in Canadian dollars here. You can blow, and I mean blow, 300 to 5 to 6 outrageous amounts of money on supplements. And I can tell you that my list that I have looking in front of me that of effective supplements, it might entertain you, or it might make you sad, or it might do all the above. But it's I hope that I can shed some truth on that very wacky world that burnt the living crap out of me for years.
Oh man, that sounds like a fun journey you've been on with the supplements in the last couple, like I don't know, like I guess you'd say like the last 10 years. And it's so funny because you have that side of the thing. You said you're buying the like the mass gainer, all those type of things. And for me, I was kind of on the opposite. I was a chubbier kid, and so I went in to buy some supplements to help me try and burn fat. So buying those fat burning pills and all these other things. But at the end of the day, the only thing that seemed to be making happy was the supplement guy himself, who was making all the money off me.
Oh yes. And I had a guy, he was a buddy. Okay, I'll use that. I'm using air quotes. You just can't see them. Yeah, I had a buddy that was 2 years older, and he was working at the GNC, the General Nutrition Center here. And he got me on a better version of that. What do you call it? That nitric oxide supplement, the exact same one that came in the BSN mass stack. And it was $120, which for me at like 16 years old, that was a lot of money in Nova Scotia, where I'm from in Canada. Like this, we're talking 2 paychecks worth of part-time hours, and I blew it, and it was terrible. So that was kind of the start towards the I still don't hate the industry, but just towards the flat out disappointment, and then the reading into the ads and everything. And then you find out that, like I said, Ronnie Coleman isn't exactly using just creatine, and then it all collapses in from there. But there's still a lot of products out there that definitely shouldn't be. And it's not necessarily because there's any kind of health concern. There are those products too, but it's just they don't work. Or that the way that they are able to say on the supplement itself that this is the benefit is from a very back end way, and I can kind of go over that too with you. But yeah, I've been scammed, lost more money. When I worked in a supplement shop, that was when it kind of started to break my heart, because I was more keen on the science. And when I saw something come out, I'd be like, this just isn't it. And I'm not going to try to slam a bunch of different supplement companies, but the ones that's been around the longest, such as Muscle Tech, is their products do so little for so high of a price. Not only that, but then they'll find all these weird herbs. It almost looks like some kind of, I don't even know. I'm not even going to bother me. Not like science experiment, but there'll be, if you Google any one of those individual ingredients, it will come back, may show to do this, which will be, I don't know, absorption. And it won't even, the amount that they put in their supplements won't be even close to the needed or the minimum effect dosage. And so that's another problem there, right? It's like if you go buy a beer and they fill it a quarter with beer and then fill the rest with water and they say this is a beer, well, they're not really lying, but it's not all a beer. So you're getting, what is that doing anything? That's a very good analogy of what usually you're going to be getting out of a lot of the, especially today's supplement brands.
You're getting a watered down version of what you're thinking you're getting, and you're paying extremely high amounts of money for it.
Well, yeah, especially the blended stuff out there, like such as pre-workouts. And that's one of the ones on here that I say that I don't mind, because they're since I think 2005 or so, it's become pretty darn easy to be a supplement company if you really want to. You can slap anything on there. You can put it together. You outsource this, outsource that, and now you have Tyson's Wicked Supplements or whatever you want to call it. But then to make a pre-workout, you just put a whole bunch of stuff together that will wake you up, and then now you have a pre-workout. And so, and that's definitely what I'm going to go into about some of the products I have listed here to chat about. But what they do is called proprietary blend, so that they are going to take a little bit more of your money to put it all together for you, make it taste half decent, hopefully, and then you don't have to go look and grab the individual ingredients yourself. It's kind of all in the one tub ready to go. And that's the exact thing that happened for the original No Explode and Super Pump, which were the first two kind of pre-workouts. And so, for instance, that one, they kind of threw together something that will enhance your pump, which is some kind of vasodilator, which would be something like citrulline malate, which does work. You can use citrulline malate if you work, or you could just use salt and hydration and you'll get the same effect. Or you can get also in there straight up creatine, which will usually be either monohydrate, which creatine works. That's one of the ones that's on here is creatine works. Of course It does. It hasn't been around. It's been around forever. The two supplements that have the most scientific thumbs up for what we're talking about are caffeine and creatine.
Yes.
They do what they say every single time, and let the outside of you being a non-creatine responder. Some people use it and just nothing happens. That sucks.
That's me.
But yeah, and I'm almost certain that's me too, because I really haven't given it enough of a whirl to go, but I want to say it didn't, because I had it in all these magical cocktails that I didn't feel anything, so let's go with that. But I know guys that see some pretty damn good progress with it, and it's so cheap to get just the pure powder and not in one of these proprietary blends. So yeah, just a creatine monohydrate is great. 5 grams a day, any time of the day. There used to be a whole bunch of info out there. Now you got to drink it with fruit juice for quicker insulin, this, that. No. You can just take it at any time. 5 grams, take it in the morning, take it at night, take it before the workout, whenever you really like. That's it. It's super cheap. So that's definitely one of the ones that works. Do you have any of your, like, we'll say, audience that knows or has a bunch of questions about particular ones? Like, what ones have you heard come up, Tyson, that you think that need to be discussed first and foremost? Because I got my list. I want to see if you've heard any of them, or want to know personally which ones work or which ones don't.
Yeah, cool. So the first thing I just want to, before we go any further with that, guys, so speaking of creatine monohydrate, Marty just said that is one of the it's the most researched supplement. It's been proven to work, right? So creatine monohydrate is, you can buy it from your local discount chemist. You can buy it from online. Don't look for anything fancy. All you're looking for is a simple creatine monohydrate. You don't need to look for any fancy brands. It should cost you, like Australian dollars, cost you about $20 for a kilo. And if you go through 5 grams a day, it's going to last you a long time. So you don't need to be tricked into any other type of creatine or anything like that. I just want to give you guys a really quick insight with, don't get caught up in all the hype and all the marketing behind, because yeah, creatine works, but simply buying, it can be just a generic brand with the powder. You take 5 grams a day whenever you want it. It's as simple as that. Isn't that right, Marty?
Absolutely. And I've been there when they came out with creatine ethyl ester, and then they came out with creatine all-phosphate, which wasn't even technically a creatine anymore. And then there was creatine hydrochloride. Then there was crealkaline, which turned out to be just creatine and baking soda together. That was supposed to, well, just there. But creatine monohydrate was, I want to say, the very first one that they ever synthesized. And that's, they've tried to improve upon it, but it just hasn't. Like it's so cheap and it just works. But so maybe there is, and I've really stopped paying attention to supplements a lot in the past 2 years, just because they let me down. Every time that I see something exciting that sounds exciting, I'm like, and usually it doesn't pan out. And some of the ones that have been showing or have been thought to been panning out don't anymore, and that's been blowing my mind a bit lately. But yeah, no, exactly like you said, all it is. You can buy bulk. It doesn't need to be the fanciest brand as long as it's just creatine. You can go with something called micronized creatine monohydrate too. I think almost all of them are micronized now. It's just a highly refined version. That's like if you had to go fancy, get that. There you go.
Perfect. Okay, cool. So tip number 1, creatine. Second thing I want to talk about, I get asked a lot about, is going back to pre-workouts. Because a lot of people, we've got clients who are busy, they've come from a long day at work, or they haven't had the best night's sleep, and they kind of need something to get them alert, get them awake during the day, especially before a workout. And what I always tell them, I'm very, very against pre-workouts. Number one, just because of the amount of crap that's out there that says, like half the stuff that's in there, they're not meant for the general public. If you're a bodybuilder, if you're someone who really wants to go hard, I guess maybe. But for just the general person, if you have a pre-workout and it's got 300, 600, whatever the milligrams of caffeine are in there, it's going to do you more harm than good in the long run, which is what I think. Personally, that's just my opinion. So when it comes to pre-workouts, Marty, what's your opinion on it? Let me know about the research. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, you got it. So they kind of drifted away from what was good. Then they got extreme. And when I mean extreme, it was actually Australia was one of the ones that ended up banning the ingredient or finding the science about why this ingredient was working so good. It's called 1,3-dimethylalamine.
Yep.
And it was very, very similar to ecstasy. So guys would have caffeine with this in it and they would feel great and they would work out, but it would blow out their not only their adrenal glands at most times, but their serotonin would go crazy, and it would have diminishing returns. It was very powerful and it was cool, but again, like you said, it varies on dangerous, and that's obviously why they took it off, right? And yeah, of course, I did try it back in the day, and it did work, but it's one of those things that if you, let's say, work lots of long hours or something like that, you become dependent upon that. Now your sleep's going to go to crap, which I'm a huge sleep guy. I'm one of those, if you don't, like, outside of your nutrition, to me, sleep is the second most important thing that will dictate your progress. It's just a personal note. But so for the pre-workouts, where they're at now, like the ones that you can see, is I call it the caffeine or the stimulant gain. In other words, it's okay. They do have, I think the lowest one I've seen is 200 milligrams per dose, which
yeah.
that is a standard size of a caffeine pill, and that's cool, I guess. But that's not the lowest. I've seen some of them be 350, 400 per scoop, which is you don't feel good. I don't know how to explain it to you. Just you don't feel good. There was one out recently, I believe, called Hyde that I'm pretty sure I had eaten, because sometimes if you don't eat, that stuff can really screw you up. But I'd eaten and took it, and I threw up within 20 minutes. It was just way too much. And I said, oh my, and then I kind of sat on my shelf for a bit, and I said, oh, you know what? Let's try it again. And threw up, said that's enough. So that one was way too much. So what they do now is this is pretty cool what they are doing. And I wouldn't really call this supplements, but it definitely is one, or things called nootropics. And nootropics is still very in its infancy when it comes to our understanding of them. And that could be something like huperzine, dinodrium, and basically they're trying to make you feel good, right? Because nootropics, if anything, they're trying to make that be a improvement on ADHD medication and things like that. So unfortunately, the efficacy of them and the safety of them is not there. But they're trying to play around with those now. So you'll see some really wacky looking ingredients in some of them, and that's okay. The dosage is low enough that that's fine, but that's in there now. They also then will have, some of them will have a lot of citrulline malate. Like I said, citrulline malate is a good supplement, but you can buy it on its own. It's anywhere between 3 and 5 grams, and it's meant to give you and help with the pump. But again, to me, if you go for a workout and you're not getting a pump, that's solved nutritionally. And that's my very firm thoughts. And I have not been able to I have been able to solve someone's I don't have a pump problem through nutrition every single time. So I think it's more geared towards I'm not dieting, so I want to feel it anyway. So there you go. So that's why that's in there. And then again, they might have some creatine in there. Some of them don't, because creatine is so cheap that the companies are getting a little bit smarter now, and guys know, looking at hey, you guys are kind of cheaping out making your 20-gram scoop, so I only get a less of a tub, be 5 grams of it creatine. So what I say is, if you really do want to use one, please try to use about half of a scoop, and only if you really frigging need it. Because exactly like you said, it's way too much. I don't think the health is going to be awesome on it there, but there are better brands out there than some will say. And I really haven't done enough research on them other than to know that most of the ones I looked at were pretty scary. So That's a shame. That's a shame. So I put that one in the maybe. Even for my clients, I say, let me know which one it is. I'll have a look at it for you to see if we can kind of continue on with it. But there's a couple out there that just no thanks.
Okay, so going into that then, so you say you don't really recommend it either. I recommend to my clients, if you need something to kind of pep you up and get you going before a workout, caffeine is the best thing. And it's cheap. You get it from coffee. You can obviously buy caffeine pills, and 100 milligrams to 200 milligrams of caffeine is enough to do somebody over. And that's my personal. Would you recommend the same thing, like having a coffee or something
absolutely. Like that? Yeah, over here, ephedrine is still legal. So even one baby tab of ephedrine, like an 8 milligram one with 100 milligrams of caffeine, that is way more than enough of anything that you will ever need. I don't have anyone start out at the 200, because it could, especially if you're not a coffee drinker or not an energy drink drinker, you do not need 200 milligrams your first time. It will send you into the light zone for sure.
Absolutely. And going back to this, like I said, a lot of the guys who listen to this podcast, they want to lose some body fat. They just want to improve their overall health and fitness. And if they're not trying to optimize every single everything they can out of the gym, they don't need to be spending, pre-workouts, man, they are expensive too. I want to tell you that. And you can get a $2.50 coffee or something very, very cheap that's going to give you nearly 99% of the effect you're going to get from a pre-workout anyways.
So here, let me tell you this too. I've met in person, I think, 3 bodybuilders that have been kind of at the gym that I used to work at, that would do a training session, do a meet and greet. And they'd be promoting some supplement or a book or whatever the heck it is. And I would see them training, in every single one of those 3 guys' hands, guess what their pre-workout was? Coffee. So if the Mr. Olympia competitors, the biggest bodybuilding accolade you can get, if they're drinking coffee, I'm pretty sure it's good enough for you and your guys too. But
yeah, well, you'd hope so anyways, right? And I think the biggest thing is, it was actually funny. When I was first into the fitness industry, I had a friend who wanted to go into the supplement industry, and the biggest thing we found is his biggest markup when it was going to be in the supplements, it was actually pre-workout, which is why there's so many different ones out there in the supplement shops, and they try and get pushed so much just because that's where a lot of the companies make their biggest markup because they can add in those other ingredients, even in minuscule amounts, and make the price skyrocket.
So the problem is with that, I know in the States at least, you're allowed to be 20% off of your label claim.
Yep.
Think about how high that is, right? So that means that in my caffeine pill, I'm allowed to be about 40 milligrams off and have it be 160 milligrams of caffeine with 40 milligrams of rice flour. So or let's say you're a 25 gram scoop of protein, it could be 20 grams of protein and 5 grams of something. So that's telling you right there how unregulated a heck of a lot of this is, right? So and a lot of people don't really know that, but that still gives you the thumbs up. That's still good manufacturing process. That's that GMP you'll see on the back of a lot of things. So that's a whole other topic, is which supplement brands are good. And I can't really give you a host. I bet you I might be able to count, and this is not including health vitamin supplements. That's a whole other world for me that we can touch on for sure. But in terms of, we'll say, the bodybuilding supplements, there has been so many guys busted with putting X and Y in their products and just not meeting the label claims when this amino acid should be there, another one, and just so yeah, that's another kind of, kick to the can, that it's just not worth the time and your money. And like you said, then the markup is there. From working at the supplement shop, I will tell you that protein powder is pretty darn expensive. That was never really marked up super high there, but the pre-workouts were marked up. But Canada is also, we get screwed pretty hard too, because a lot of these things are made in the States. And so you'd see my cost as a supplement shop manager be higher than the shelf price in the US. And that was mind blowing for me. Wow. I'm like, how are you selling a pre-workout for $35 and I get it for $45 in Canada and have to sell it for $65? It's like, you got to, so I wasn't making a lot of money off them. But now in the States, well, especially from manufacturer rate to, let's say, GNC's back door, when they buy 10,000 of them or whatever, yeah, I can see exactly what you're coming from.
Absolutely. So we've gone over pre-workouts, we've gone over creatine. Another big thing that I still see get pushed a lot is BCAAs. And I used to recommend that, because I do intermittent fasting, and I used to recommend it to my clients after a workout if they would be doing some type of intermittent fasting. But a meta-analysis showed this year that they're pretty much, BCAAs are bunk, if I'm correct.
I love that. I love that you're there in terms of you've come over to the light side and finally saw that, yeah, the branched chain amino acid reign is done. You are completely correct. So what happened there was it was and this is going to be every supplement we discuss. There's always another story. In other words, somewhere, some way, it showed that there was recovery of muscle, there was enhanced muscle protein synthesis, either that or there was less muscle protein breakdown, but that was in different conditions than obviously the ones that they're trying to get you guys or us to implement. So the kind of the background behind that was finally when that meta-analysis came out, and there's still now more and more coming out showing this, but the only way they originally had the branched chain amino acids doing something was having weight-trained individuals eat, I think it was less than 50 grams of protein per day, then the BCAAs might have an effect. So that's for your average guy, 50 grams of protein per day, that is ludicrously low. Like even if you are doing something, we'll say specialized for, but that's not even in the world of, fat loss, muscle gain. So there was that. And then that started not being true. The studies were either manipulated or it was doing something with rats. So just nothing was really panning out, because the three branched chains, albeit the anabolic muscle building, muscle preserving ones, they need the other five, the essential amino acids, to do anything. You can kind of think of it as like fuel tanks. If you've only got so much fuel, you can have all the oil, all the windshield fluid you need or else the car will only get so far. And that's the literal caveat to branched chains, is that it wasn't doing anything. And then as the side note, and I always have to tell, especially to my ladies, is that, did you know that there are calories in there? Because when you flip it around, it says 0 calories. Yes, there is. Because what is protein made up of? Amino acids.
Yes.
So then how the heck can amino acids not have calories? It doesn't make any sense.
No, and I don't know what the nutrition rules are over there, but I think if it contains less than a certain amount, they actually don't have to say that there's a calorie amount. Is that correct?
That is correct, but it's not quite 4 calories per gram like protein, but it's something like 3.6 or something like that. So it's still, that's way higher. I think, because you got to think of things like Splenda, where they even them now have to put 0.6 of a gram on the back of a lot of their packaging. But just to say 0, and when it's 3 that's outlandish. So you got to think a 10-gram scoop. It's just there's no way. And so then the popular craze of having them as a flavored water. Oh, well, there's no calories. I can just flavor them. And I've seen it time and time again. Progress halts because they're drinking branched chains all day, because some of these people in Alberta, they've got lots and lots of money from the oil field. So they'll be drinking 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever grams of branched chains a day, and they're putting weight on.
That adds up.
Oh, of course it does. An extra 50 grams of protein per day. And not only that, but now after we just discussed this, 50 grams of, we'll say, borderline useless protein. So, but as long, and that's the thing too. And now it's also signaling digestive cues in between your meals. And so so now you're constantly kind of eating in a way. So yeah, the whole thing ended up being a disaster. That was actually an experiment that one of the guys from Scivation did back in the day, was having branched chains in between every meal and and trying to make it look like this superior thing. It was all marketing and then but then wham, here we are. All the data's out. So basically, don't use them. Like, flat out, they have 0 point. There's none of this. But what if no? There's zero. What if I have them with meal? No, there's 0 point. But however, EAAs do work. If you do need to supplement something like that in essential amino acids, there's not very many brands out right now that have a high quality essential amino acid product, but that is a solution with it. So, or obviously just use a frigging high quality whey protein. That is going to be way above and beyond the efficacy of branched chains. So
absolutely. I think, like that's a good point. Like, so, there's different guys between ECAAs, which is essential amino acids, and BCAAs. BCAAs have been proven not to work because, like Marty said, you need all the amino acids, right? And when you want to get all the essentials, right? And so you can go and buy that supplement if you want, or like you said, you can go and get yourself a protein powder, or even better, go and have a steak or some chicken.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You're correct. You do not need. There's no mandatory protein powder out there. Let me say that.
Whoa, Tyson's tip of the day. I got a question recently and I was asked, how many calories should you eat every single day? Should you have less on one day, more on the other day? What's more important? And the truth is, it doesn't really matter. What matters most is how much you're consuming during the week. So if you're eating 14,000 calories a week, which is 2,000 calories a day, and you're not gaining weight, then you need to eat less food. If you're gaining weight, then you need to eat less food. If you're maintaining weight, then you're happy. You've got to decide what your goals are, and then you've got to figure out how much you need to eat during the week. Then you split that out to however you want. Do you want to eat more on your training days, or do you want to eat more on your rest days? Honestly, at the end of the day, it does not matter. What matters most is how much you consume during the week, because that's going to determine whether you gain fat, whether you lose muscle. Everything comes down to that. Speak to you next time.
Yes, absolutely. And so, okay, so you've just kind of blown up a lot of people's worlds when it comes to BCAAs.
I know, right?
No BCAAs, pre-workouts, though, like fuck, Marty. So before we go any further, though, when it comes to like training fasted, does it actually matter if I don't get something after my workout, or is it more important that I just make sure I get enough protein in during the whole day?
So that's, we'll call it one of the great debates, right? Like, so I haven't done a true IF. And when a true IF, I mean, I haven't ever trained during the fasted period. I really enjoy, for fat loss reasons, waking up, using my fat loss ingredients, whatever the heck I do, doing the cardio. And so I really, really am a big fan of fasted cardio, under certain conditions. And then I'll kind of wait. I don't know. I'll wake up at 5 or 6. Sometimes if I'm lazy, 7, and then I'll do my cardio. Well, usually it'll be about 30 minutes to an hour. Depends upon where I'm at in terms of wanting to gain muscle, lose fat, and then I'll probably start my meals around noon. And that's kind of my bastard, not a set IF, but so then I will consume my food from about 12 or 1 till probably about 10. So whatever that is, 9 and 6 or whatever the heck, or 9 and 16. So something like that. But do you need it? I'm going to flat out say I don't know enough about the science behind it to say that you need it, or would the protein that you have during your feed window, is it enough? I'm going to say it just might be, because I do know, and I think I was talking to you about this over chat, that Martin is back, Mr. Lean Gains himself, and he will definitely be having to update his website, because he has on there that branch chains or essential amino acids are valid. So I think it's cool. This is a great time for the intermittent fasting world, because we're going to have some more research again on it, which is, I'm excited, man. It's going to be wicked. So there's your answer. Fortunately, I don't know, and I've got no problem with saying I don't know, because I wish I did.
Yeah. And that's the thing, we don't know everything. Like for me, I like to recommend to people, at the end of the day, if we think about back to our primal times, and they would, obviously go certain times lifting shit, trying to like chase animals to kill, and they didn't have food in their body. If they lost muscle mass and if they lost weight, like, we'd be dead right now, right? So, so when you think about this from a technical level, I think the body's pretty efficient at maintaining muscle mass, especially with all the benefits that it has for our body. So we're not going to catabolize and we're not going to lose a lot of muscle mass as long as you're making sure you're getting in enough protein overall during the day.
You know what? Or even the best way to do it, and this is exactly what I do with my clients, I would say, you know what? Screw it. Let's have 10 grams or 15, 20 grams of EAAs right after for 2 weeks, and let's see if anything dramatic happens. If nothing dramatic happens, we can pick. If they want to rather eat the food, cool. I kind of like to leave it up to the client then. Yeah. Because there is something to be said. And that's almost why, and like we'll hear, as long as not too many of my clients don't listen to this, this is almost why I say use your pre-workout, because that's part of people's routines. And then you said you've talked about mindset before, but if people know that, like if they want to sip the essential amino acids during, cool. If they want to have them after, cool. And that really fires them up, or they feel like this is part of my routine, this is my day, and that's going to make them give a little bit more oomph in the gym, then friggin' go for it, right?
Exactly right. And that's like, I recommend to people, a lot of people, do your training fasted if you want to, but if you feel better with food in your stomach, don't train fasted. Like for me,
and that's me for sure.
Yeah, right. So you like food in your stomach?
Oh, I've got to have 1 or 2 meals, or else I don't know if it's a mental thing for me or just what it is, but I just do not have the same zazz in me at all. And I've tried it. I gave it a full on run of waking up, having some caffeine going in. I just felt not Marty, will say. And I don't know if that's due to my mentality or if it was just due to my muscle size at the time or what, but
not so Mega Marty when there's no food.
That's right. Not the same Mega Marty. You just got Marty then. You didn't get Mega Marty. That's right.
It's actually funny though. Like, guys, it's exactly like I talk about. I love training fasted, whether it be doing high intensity, low intensity, or weight training, just because I just feel so heavy when I've got food in my stomach. And especially when it comes to chin-ups, I'm like, oh God, I'm not going to be able to do this properly. I've just got too much weight. But Marty, on the other hand, kicks ass after a couple of meals. So you've really got to find out what works best for you. Just because I recommend something, or Marty recommends something, or whoever else you like recommend something, if you don't feel good doing it, don't fucking do it. Do something that's going to be more beneficial for you. If we're telling you that pre-workouts don't work or BCAAs don't work, but if you're constantly stressing, oh, I'm going to lose muscle, then take them if it's more reassuring to you. We're just delivering the science to you and the facts, what's actually being proven. So it's all up to you at the end of the day, but we just want to give you the most beneficial advice.
Yes, absolutely. But I will make just a quick side note is that intermittent fasting for muscle gain, that's when it starts to get a little bit more of a dark area in terms of should you train fasted or not. So absolutely. Intermittent fasting kicks ass. And because, like I said, that's exactly how I do my own weird version of it for fat loss. And I love it myself. GH levels are elevated, blah, blah, blah. All the benefits. That's awesome. But for muscle gain, I not only do I think it's suboptimal, but it's just not, I won't say scientifically, but it's just not there from a nutrient transport thing in terms of kind of everything that's going on. Because you can still fast for a bit and then just switch to having meals closer. But But even then, let's say, for instance, for yourself, how you don't have that heavy feeling. Like there's some, thank God now, there's some really, really good carb powders out there with some something like cyclic dextrin or cluster dextrin with now some EAAs, which will feel nice and light on the stomach, will feel good, and can train. So with the calories without that heavy feeling, and that's getting pretty boss right now. And so I have quite a few people that they have to wake up in the morning, but they hate fasted training, but that's the only time due to time constraints. And so we have them take a little bit of that cluster dextrin with a little bit of EAAs, and like, holy crap, this is night and day for them. So there you go, for sure.
Interesting. Now, before we go any further, I got a bit of a selfish question now. So for me,
Sure.
I'm not bulking, but I'm trying to gain muscle at the moment, and I still follow the intermittent fasting approach.
Right.
I do a 16 hours and 8-hour feeding window, so I'll have 3 meals spread out. But the reason I follow is because when I was a kid and I was chubbier, I liked the feeling of being full all the time. And so being able to do the intermittent fasting and then kind of having my 3 big meals and just feeling like I'm very, very satiated and full, that's how I do it. And that's doing my, I'm like gaining muscle at the moment. So I'm doing 3,000 calories a day, and I'm slowly putting on weight. But however, obviously it's not the most optimal thing, right? Because there's certain times when I'm not eating. There's obviously the spacing between meals isn't going to activate muscle protein synthesis as efficiently because I've only got a short amount of feeding period. What else do you think about that when it comes to gaining muscle intermittent fasting? Why else do you think it doesn't work for some people?
The predominant reason why it doesn't work is exactly that. GLUT4, which is a process, is just not turned on enough. Most people, when they're trying to really get the higher, it depends upon how you're also trying to gain the weight too, right? Because most people will implement some form of progressive resistance, or their program would be somehow progressive. And once you do try to get more intensity or in the gym, there's only so much that some stimulants can do, right? Before then, we'll call it the food backup is kind of there. And then it depends too upon when you work out, when you're fasted, and then when you break your fast. Because let's say you work out at 8 in, but then your fast doesn't end until 1, 2, 3 p.m. And that's a long time for your body to be going, holy crap, we're still, like, what just happened? Like, there's no nutrition coming in a sense, right? Especially if you're really looking for the muscle gains, right? Because it's a different lever, right? Your body's trying to not go so much into the fat loss and trying to obviously dip into the muscle gains. So it's just inefficient. I don't know how to really break, because I don't even really like what you said there about the whole they don't have that long of a feeding window. I still don't have the whole you need to eat every 2 to 3 hours. That's busted a long time ago. Like if you want to have one meal here, and I've told more, they'll make their own version of intermittent fasting. Even if they want to have a big meal in the morning, we'll say, quote unquote, fast for 4 or 5 hours, then eat their meals at night because that's when they want to be social with the family, then you frigging do it. And that still does work, of course. However, for the muscle gain, I really would like to, what we have for science right now that shows is optimal is something about, I want to say, an hour and a half, hour before the workout, and then something probably within the hour or maximum hour and a half after the workout, just because then you've got nonstop protein turnover. And that's the one that really, really is the driver between either fat loss or muscle gain, because it's cool for protein breakdown. It's cool but if the turnover's there, so that the amount that you're synthesizing is way higher than the amount that you're destroying, that's what we're after. So, and it's not that you can't do it, man, because clearly, if you're putting on weight, cool, but just to maximize it being muscle, that's that's kind of it. But you know what? If a lifestyle factors, as in you feel your absolute best and you are happy doing it that way, I wouldn't change it then.
I also think one thing we bring up, the way we're thinking, Marty, is optimal, right?
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, I may not gain as much muscle as I would like to optimally, but we're talking about versus bodybuilding prep versus just, a good healthy lifestyle. This is where we kind of start to dig into the nitty gritty. Isn't that right?
Absolutely right. And you got to think though, that's as much as I would say, let's say someone comes to me and they want in 4 months, they want to do a contest prep, I am going to give them kind of two options. Do you want ideal or do you want optimal?
Yeah.
And to me, those are two they're mutually exclusive. They don't mean the same thing, because one that you can do that isn't necessarily the best is usually going to win versus the best that you might not do sometimes. And so, yeah, that's why I said it is screwing up with your personal life, with your mental game. Like you said, the whole feeling full is really good for you. Then I wouldn't get rid of that, man. That's been working for you, right? Yeah. So there you go, for sure. It just like it's one of those things that, well, as grown men, which obviously a lot of your guys are, I'm sure hope all of them are, is just, who cares if it's a little bit slower? It's fine. It's okay. You're still gaining muscle. You don't need to put it on in 3 months as much as you could put on. And let's say, I don't even know the exact statistic. I'm just going to blow something out of my ass here, but let's say it even take 5 months, but who cares? You felt better and you lived better.
Absolutely. And sorry guys, that was completely off topic, but it was for selfish reasons and I've got him on here. So, okay, we've kind of busted some myths about supplements, and people are probably feeling pretty heartbroken at the moment, but we are saving your pocket at the end of the day, guys. So if I'm saving the money on the pre-workouts, on the BCAAs, what are some supplements that I could be spending my money on that's going to help my quality of life overall and, get me better results?
Sure. So the outside of, obviously we talked about caffeine and creatine, I still won't call those mandatory. I would say those are, if you're going to pick a bodybuilding supplement, sure, go for it. But I would spend your money, especially for you guys, that I think that your best dollar would be spent on a very high quality probiotic. Absolutely.
Okay.
Probiotics are probably, because now then I go into the health stuff, right? Because the guts, everything happens in the guts, everything between digestion, sickness. Like you get bowel cancer, you're done. Like there's no, oh, she has a little bit left. No, you're done. If anything, the guts start going, you get an ulcer. That's awful. Like not only that, but you get food poisoning. You can't move. So it's the guts, man. So the really good probiotic, the one that I like, it might actually be a Australian company, is called Garden of Life.
I'm looking at this right now on your Instagram page. I was having to store.
You got it. It's the Garden of Life Primal Defense Ultra. Guys,
I'm going to put this link on the show notes so you can actually see which one that Marty likes to use.
That company, like if you dig into them, they've won more awards. They've had people not raid their facility, but come on in, and everything is always exactly what it is. That's so. And why probiotic? Because then you've got the good bacteria in there, especially for you guys, because I always try to get my clients to have one in the morning first thing when they wake up, and try to wait 20, 30 minutes to kind of let the bacteria float around in there. Well, that is you guys. You guys got tons of time for the good bacteria to jump in there, float around, do some good things. Let's say you have had some digestive issues, whether it's constipation or anything like that. Even 1 in the morning, and then let's say you break your fast 6 hours after wake up. Well, then 1 in the morning, 3 hours later, that'll help so much with consistency, with less gas, less bloat, which therefore means more absorption. Like that's definitely something I would be interested in. I've actually been putting that at the top of my, if you come to me and as a new client and you have had not the best diet, which is what most people, I say take it for a month just to make sure. Not and it says it mandatory, no, but it's gonna ensure that you have all of that set up for the bacteria in your stomach. It's just, and that company will do it for you. You don't want the cheap ones. The cheap ones will be not alive, like the guys inside of the brown bottle of the Garden of Life. They are alive still. They're freeze dried, and so that you can keep them in the fridge. That's what I do with mine, because I buy that huge capsule one, and just 1 in the morning. That's it. So that's one. Another one is I really like fish oil, and it's just because it's a lot of people don't like oily fish. It's just the way that it goes, and it does have enough health benefits for it too. It is a little tiny bit detrimental to muscle growth, because omega-6 is the inflammatory, which means muscle growth, but the health benefits for omega-3 is silly. I really like I think it's Carlson's. I haven't wrote a post about this yet, but the Carlson's oil or something, whichever ones that you can get that come in an oil,
yes,
are usually of higher quality, because the capsules, sometimes at the magnesium stearate or whatever the heck they make them with, can turn them rancid pretty quickly, and that's the exact opposite. You don't want rancid fish oil. Another way to test for the fish oil usually is if you have a fish oil cap and it makes you burp, you probably did not buy the best capsule. That's not a governing thing, because I've had some of them just go bad and they I burped with them, right? But I like kind of 3 to 4 total grams of fish oil. That's not the EPA, DHA. So yeah, I think that's just great as a joint lubricant. It's good for the mind, good for skin. It's also not super expensive, but that's another one that I would go with too. And then outside of that, there's not very much else that's on, we'll call it Marty's mandatory list, because everything else is so subjective. Like if you've got IBS, I recommend this. If you have too much dry skin, I recommend that. Because again, I'll say the guts are everything, right? Like, and that's one of the primary ways that I assess my clients is are you gassy? Are you bloated? If not, how many bowel movements are you having? Because if that's a factory, then everything else is gone. So after sleep, I would say digestion is the next thing we have to watch too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think digestion is a huge part, and that's why, we can look at all these supplements, guys. Like obviously we talk about the probiotics, but if you're just not eating the right type of food, or if you're having food that's, giving you gas, giving you bloating, giving you diarrhea, making you lethargic, well, you might want to start taking care of that first before you start looking at any type of supplements, to be honest.
That's right. And so here's the thing too, is that the probiotic will not save you, and neither will, because actually in Garden of Life, I use these with my clients during contest prep when their own enzymes aren't good, is Garden of Life's Omegazyme is what it's called. But so why not digestive enzymes? Why is that not on my list? Because if you use digestive enzymes, what it does is it tells your body that it doesn't need its own. It goes, oh, okay, cool, we can take a break. So you will destroy, or kind of, it's like the FBI coming in, or the SWAT team to the local police station. It goes, oh, good, you guys are here. Okay, we can screw off. So another way you can use a higher quality digestive enzyme, if you absolutely have to, is let's say Christmas or something like that. Sure, go for it. Have like 1 or 2 with a really bad meal. But if you find yourself carrying digestive enzymes around just to try to, cover up for the shit that you're eating,
yeah,
then you're missing the point again, right? That's like the what can I get away with mentality, right? So no, I definitely do not recommend chronic use of digestive enzymes for that reason. It makes the colon lazy. So yeah, I'd much rather, I'm one of those do it with food guys, right? Like it's just the way that it should work. The body you do not need them for anything. And that also will tell you where your food sensitivities are at, in a sense. If you eat something and your stomach bacteria is good and you're bloated and gassy, that's telling you something, right? So, yeah.
Absolutely. And, well, I think the biggest thing is none of this has been sexy, to be honest, Marty. And people are going to be disappointed.
No. And if you've got a couple seconds here, I will also blow through extremely quickly to not waste your money on testosterone boosters.
That is the one question I forgot to ask, and yes, you need to cover this.
No worry, man. I got 2 more on here for you, or a couple more on here. So testosterone boosters do not work. Tribulus, Terrestis, or any form of Tribulus, they keep coming out, just like creatine. They keep coming out with a new form of Tribulus. Oh, let's say every year or two, say, nope, this is the one. Nope, this is the one. Nope. It's just like listening to Hydroxycut talk about their fat burners, right? So, which another one I'm going to talk about. So yeah, the testosterone boosters, maybe if you are a 55-year-old man that is experiencing a massive downturn, they might, and I mean might, work for you then. But any of them, I know the ones over here like Testo FX or T-Bomb or anything, no, you are going to be pissing away your money. And these ones are ludicrously expensive. I know. Yes. I remember Animal Test was $140 US back in the day. And that's for 21 days. What a scam. So no, that's all it is. So that'll never change. They're trying to mimic something that synthetic hormones do, and they just keep pulling people's money in. Glutamine, this is a really good one to talk about. So glutamine, what does glutamine do? The glutamine label says it will help you with your muscle recovery and your muscle soreness. No, it will not. The original studies that they did, that they were legally allowed to say that, were from burn victims, and I believe it was cancer or AIDS or both. So when you were in a burn, your body needs a shit ton of glutamine to recover. Yeah, okay, of course it helped with recovery. You're just in a frigging 3rd-degree burn. A regular training, healthy anybody, it does nothing for that. However, It can help with stomach lining. It can help with some digestive issues. It can help with ulcers. But in terms of what they promote it for as a bodybuilding supplement, it does nothing. Save your time and your money. It's also very expensive. Then there are fat burners. So the fat burners out there of today are like they're pretty much the same ones that have been floating around for the last little while now. There has been no really good fat burning ingredient out there, I think, since geranium, which was a different version of that 1,3-dimethylalamine that I told you about that was in pre-workouts. But all that really did was make you more wired, so therefore you would move more around, so therefore there was you burning fat. No, there's not. It's not a fat burner. It gives you potential to burn more fat. So like, you imagine that was on a vial. This product gives you the potential to burn more fat. So it's basically glorified caffeine, especially you see this like the green coffee bean, raspberry ketones.
Oh, fuck.
It is. But you know what? These supplements, and I see them now at the malls right now. People are buying them up by the gobs, and it's just, it's glorified caffeine, guys. It's silly. So save your time, save your money. Anything of that stuff that works is illegal, so don't bother. And then there is newer products too, like Sweet Sweat. I know that's a lot for the ladies, but I've seen guys buy it, which is this topical fat burning cream. Oh my God. It is at best a skin lotion with mild diuretics in it. So basically, you can put it on with this fancy belt and it will suck the water out of you right then and there. So when you take the belt off, you go, holy crap, I look leaner. Have a glass of water and you won't look leaner. It's disgusting. Like, I don't even know if you guys have that over there, Sweet Sweat. It's just the most hilarious product. There's a brand new one just came out too called like Drip Fit or something, which is even less. It doesn't even have the diuretic portion to it. It's just literally, I looked up every ingredient 2 nights ago. One said exfoliating. Another one said exfoliating. One said moisturizing. I was like, I need this during my workout with a belt. Okay, sounds good. And then the last one that does not work is CLA. Yes, conjugated linoleic acid. I've made a post about this with all the science behind it. It can help, I believe, with some mental clarity, maybe, but in terms of it was a trans fat that came from cows, and it was supposed to be a fat that burnt fat. No, nothing happened. The only study that was done on it was 3.2 grams of CLA, all in obese people that were exercising. Now, I wonder what worked, the CLA or the diet and the exercise.
Yeah.
So they just lumped it in there and that's it. And that is what I have on my list of super awesomeness. That's like, and that's everything. Like, and when that's what was breaking my heart when I was selling supplements, I knew there was like 4 things. So at that time, I still believed in branch chains. Thank God, at least I could sell the store something and not have to have a moral complex about it. But yeah, it's very, very fun to see the guys that I train say, wow, I have an extra whopping amount of money now and I look better. I'm like, yep, that's pretty cool.
Wow. So, again, not sexy. A lot of stuff's been busted, which is going to, some people are going to be disappointed, but at the end of the day, if you can spend that money that you're saving on pre-workouts, on test boosters, on the fat burners, on all those things, and you put it towards a good gut supplement support that Marty's talked about today from Garden of Life, and let's say you also go, if you need yourself a good protein powder, if you're short on time, things like that, grab yourself a protein powder, and also some good quality liquid fish oil, not on the capsules, you're going to see much, much greater benefits for your long-term health too, because a lot of people, we want things that are going to make us feel good today or go and have a good workout today. But if you're constantly doing this, especially with pre-workouts and things like that, you're just fucking your adrenals up and you're not getting enough good quality sleep and you're not focusing on the good quality food, then whatever money you're spending on supplements, you are literally pissing down the drain.
Yeah, it's so true, right? I keep gaining some extra stuff inside my brain here, but melatonin does work too. If you can't sleep, melatonin does work. Don't go crazy with the dose. You can use, I think 0.3, which is very small, is the effective dose up to something like 6 milligrams. It eradicates the exposure to lights, which obviously destroys your body's own melatonin. So shift workers, I've got a lot of nurses that will be seeing lights at the random times. They'll be coming off the grave shift and go, holy crap, how do I go to bed when it's light out? Melatonin does work. 5-HTP does work as well. Don't abuse it because you can get serotonin syndrome. But sleep time stuff, if you are coming off of night shift or something like that, or you just too much caffeine or something, that can work. So those are kind of safe. So both melatonin and 5-HTP. But like I said, everything out there that would possibly be beneficial to you guys is something health. That's it. Like vitamin D, sure thing, go for it. Vitamin C, sure. You don't need to have your supplement pantry or whatever you have looking like a friggin' pharmacy, but there are some things here and there. And don't believe everything what you see, and go to examine.com and just read up. Like if someone says, hey, oil of oregano has helped me when I was sick every single time, go, oh, is it really? And they will have every drop of evidence there. It will tell you, should you take it? If you should, what dose? So yeah, man, that's kind of the way that I do things now. Is I will hear of something brand new and wacky and go look it up on Examine and go from there.
Actually, I think that's one of the best tips you could have shared, Marty, is go and do, like, you can listen to other people and listen to marketing, but if you literally just go on examine.com, that is like no BS, will give you exact information of what you need to know about a certain supplement. Does it work? Does it not work? Should you buy it? All those type of things.
Yeah.
Whatever you have interest in.
Because everybody, just like me, don't believe me to the ends of the earth. Go look stuff up. Because like even I say that to my clients. I said, but however, Google is not examine.com either. Because like unless you really want to learn how to sift through PubMed and other medical journals and NSCBI and trying to figure out, okay, in that cow study, they took this. It was kind of significant, like just no. And that's where a lot of like, especially in the keto debates right now, you'll see is keto better than carb better? And there's pros and cons all over the place, and they're throwing studies around that are being misinterpreted. And believe me, guys, I don't want to do that. So let alone for you to do that would be, oh man, you'd be more confused, just like I get most days trying to figure out that stuff for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly right. So Marty, I really appreciate you coming on today and busting all these myths, giving us the unsexy version of what we should be buying and what we shouldn't be buying, and basically giving us some really practical advice to go ahead with. So before you go, where can people find out more about you? Like, what are you doing at the moment?
Yeah, absolutely. I am still plugging away with my online coaching. This is the first, we'll say, public live time I'm able to say this. I actually have a waiting list now for my clients. You can still get a hold of me, obviously, at any time. You can check out my Instagram, which is at megamartycoach. I have www.megamarty.com, and I've got some blogs on there. I like to share a lot on Instagram right now. I don't know what it is. It's been my platform. I hooked up with a dude named Leon to show me how to the ins and outs of it, how to get my message across. And it's just a really quick, easy way to gain a little bit more info on there. It's not all just girls in their butts, I promise. But yeah, that's things are going good. I'm going to try to start writing more. I'm going to try to I'm getting more on putting out a whole bunch of info and content for people, because even as much as like you knew, Tyson, pretty much most of this, there's still some things you don't know. And to me, it has to get out there. Like you said, it's not sexy. I could have put on a little bit of a different voice for you guys, but it has to, it's one of those things. Okay. You got it now. You've got it on the wall. Okay. Take this, not this, maybe this. I'm good. And then focus on the shit that matters, which is, training really hard, nailing your diet. And if you're not nailing your diet, figuring out why you're not nailing your diet, getting the mindset straight, and just pretty much crushing life.
Awesome. Guys, I'm going to have a link to Marty's Instagram, his website, his Twitter, everything, so you can go and follow him. You can have a stalk like I like to do. You can check out his crazy hair. And
yeah, right?
Yeah.
It just got dyed, too. You wait. The photo will be coming up soon. It's different, buddy.
Cannot wait to see it. Guys, this is actually not going to be the end of Marty either. You're going to hear from him a couple of times, because there's some pretty cool things I want to be able to talk to him about, and I want to bring him back on the show. So thanks again, Marty, for coming on. And before you go, guys, what I want to do is, before you go, the only supplement that's going to work is actually my brand. And because I'm just stirring you guys up. I don't have any supplements. Thanks again for listening, guys. And I'll see you on the next episode. See ya. Hey, thanks for listening to the podcast. I really appreciate it. Before you go, can you please do me a massive favor and share this podcast with one friend or family member who you think would benefit from listening? All you have to do is open up your podcast app, click on those 3 dots next to the episode and click on share episode. Then you can text or email it to that friend or family member and tell them to check it out. Also, if you guys want to connect with me, I am on all social media platforms, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you want to find me, it's at TysonBPT. TysonBPT. Also, if you guys like the podcast, please go to iTunes and leave me a rating. This helps me get up the rankings and it also helps other people find me so I can help them improve their health and fitness. Once again, thanks for listening and I'll see you.